Can you talk about the harrying of the North? Why were there no consequences and no generational hatred? What is the harrying of the North? We're talking about English history. The harrying of the North happened in the 11th century, in the winter of 1069 1070, the year 1069 1070. What are we talking about here? So, in the year 1066, 1066, the Duke of Normandy. Okay, let's go to the map. Where's the map? Here's the map. So we're talking about England here. The northwest portion of France, it's called Normandy. Okay, that's where you had Vikings who settled there, and they intermingled with the local French people and became French Vikings, Normans. So in this region, you had the first Duke of the Vikings in Normandy was a guy called Rollo. His great grandson or great great grandson was William, who was illegitimate. Okay, so he was called William the Bastard. He himself called himself William the Bastard. And in the year 1066 AD, William the Bastard landed in Hastings with an invasion force, and he was able to defeat the King of England, King Harold of England, Harold Godwinson. And that's how William the Bastard became William the Conqueror and conquered England. And he became the King of England through conquest. Now, when he became the King of England, he had to subdue the locals, the local Anglo-Saxons who had been ruling England for a very long time, for several centuries. He had to subdue them. He had to impose his rule, his law on England. And he was able to do it. But there was tremendous resistance in the north of England, in Yorkshire. You see the city of York here? It was called Jorvik by the Norwegians, by the Vikings. So the city of York, and there is Durham somewhere over here. Where is Durham? This is Durham, right? So in Yorkshire and Durham, there was tremendous resistance against William's occupation of England. William's soldiers were killed. The garrison of Yorkshire was destroyed, and the soldiers were killed, massacred. So there was significant resistance against William's rule in the north. So in 1069, in the winter, he decided to launch a massive military campaign in the north. It was a campaign of destruction. It came to be known as the harrying of the north. So he decided that he's going to employ scorched earth tactics in the north. He's going to destroy the people's crops. He's going to destroy the people's fields. He's going to destroy their livestock, all the animals that they have. He's going to kill them all, and he's going to massacre as many people as he can. And that's what he did. He personally led the campaign, the military campaign, and he devastated the north of England all the way from between Yorkshire and Durham. And I don't know, 100,000, 150,000 people are said to have been affected. I don't know if it means killed or what, but maybe. So the population of England at this time was about 2 million. And about 150,000 people were affected. It's about almost 10% of the people of England were affected. And the entire region, North England, was completely devastated. It was made unusable for agriculture, farming, animal husbandry, whatever. The people were massacred in large numbers. And for even a decade later, the place was a wasteland. That's how destructive William's harrying of the north was. And the outcome was that he was able to then impose his laws, his rule over the north of England. He was able to replace the local lords with the local Anglo-Saxon lords with Norman, French-speaking lords who had allegiance to William. And it is said that you could even see the consequences in satellite images, because the way the villages are spaced apart today, they are spaced apart very evenly, almost mathematically, which is very unusual and very artificial. So the whole place apparently was so badly devastated that the villages had to be refounded in a certain way that essentially is still visible from satellite images. If you are a trained historian, you will be able to figure out what exactly was the consequences of what William did. So that's William the Conqueror's harrying of the North. From his perspective, it was a necessary act. He tried his best to subjugate the North, but they resisted. So that's why he had to resort to brutal force. And by through brutal force, he succeeded. Um, why were there no consequences, no generational hatred? See, he was so powerful. His might, his hard power, like we discussed in geopolitics, was so overwhelming that there could be no consequences. There were no consequences. The people of the region, they were smashed. They were defeated badly, devastated. How can there be consequences? Generational hatred. Well, over time, the Anglo Saxons and the Normans intermingled over centuries. We're talking about 1,000 years ago. Over time, the people intermingled, and nobody today. See, if you go to England today, who identifies as Norman? Who identifies as Anglo Saxon? Nobody. They're all intermixed. Today, you have the original population was Celtic. Then you had Roman blood that came in because during the Roman occupation of England. Then you had the Anglo Saxons and the Jutes who invaded from Germany about 450 AD, around that time. So then they intermingled with the Celtic people and the Roman descendant people, and created a mixed population. And then you had the Normans who invaded. Between the then they had the Normans who came in, but before that there were the Vikings who invaded England and settled in parts of England, northern parts of England, for a couple of centuries. Then you had the Vikings, the Normans, who were of Viking origin. So today you have a very mixed population. Nobody identifies as Saxon or Celtic or Norman or Viking, whatever. They're all pretty much mixed. In the north of England, you have a different kind of English that's spoken. The accent is different. It's more like you know, the languages of the Nordic countries. The accent is more like the flat vowels, etc. That's the only remnant of the Viking era. But there's no generation hatred because everybody is mixed now. It's a mainly mixed populations.